So this example, in this example, we're just asked to simplify both of these expressions. Now, the reason why this is adding and subtracting rational expressions part 1 is because we're just going to be dealing with monomials in the denominator. Okay, there's only going to be one term, and that actually makes it easier. Tomorrow we're going to get, or the next set of videos, it's going to get a little bit more complicated, but baby steps to the polynomials, mostly quadratics, just to give you a heads up. First things first, what we need to do is we need to find the lowest common denominator. Okay, so we need to take into consideration all of the factors. So 7 times 3 times x. Yeah, x is a factor. So the lowest common denominator is going to be 21x. So the way that I would simplify this is I would say, okay, we're going to slap everything on top of 21x. I'm noticing that I like this spread out version too, because when it comes to figuring out what we need to multiply this fraction by to get to 21x, all I say is, okay, I know that I have 7, so I need to multiply the top by 3x. So this becomes 6x squared. With this one, I know that I have a 3x in the denominator, so I just need to multiply the numerator by 7 plus 35. When we get to this point, we can state our non-permissible values. Actually, when we get to the considering our lowest common denominator, non-permissible values, x cannot equal 0. And just a hint, since it's a monomial, since we're not going to have any like x plus 3 or 2x minus 7 terms, and this means in brackets, we're just going to have x equaling or a equaling or b equaling, whatever the letter is, cannot equal 0, because that would take this whole denominator to 0. Move on to this one. I'm just going to rewrite this one. You might think I'm crazy, but you'll see what I'm saying. Okay? At this point I can say non-permissible values a cannot equal 0 and b cannot equal 0. So I'm just going to rewrite it. 4 over 5ab minus 3b times b. This is going to make it easier for me to identify what the lowest common denominator is actually going to be. So LCB. I'm going to get out my fancy dancy colors. This b and this b they don't really cancel each other out, but it means that I just need to multiply by 1b at this point. I need to take into consideration my a. I need to take into consideration my 5. And last but not least, I need to take into consideration this extra b. So what I'm left with here is my lowest common denominator is 5ab squared. Some of you are going to be like, well, yeah, but if I were to multiply these two things together, do you see how it would be, like remember with my example where we had denominators of 3 and 4 and we just multiplied it together to get the common denominator of 12? Just like this one, we could have just taken these and just multiplied it together, right? 7 times 3 times x. But this one, if we multiplied them together, would be 5ab cubed. It wouldn't be squared. We would have an extra b. But this right here, since there's a b in common, you don't need to multiply it again, the b into it again. Okay? So we know that our lowest common denominator is this. Again, I really like having this here so I can cover up what I need to. So then I'm going to have my common denominator of 5ab squared. So when I look at my first term, I'm like, okay, I have a 5 and an a and a b. What do I need to multiply by? B. So I'm going to say 4b. With this one, I say, okay, I have a b and a b. What do I need to multiply the second term by? 5a. So this becomes negative 15a. I've stated my non-permissible values, which are always necessary in this sort of question, and I've simplified it as best as I can. There's not a common factor that I can factor out of it, all of these, so I'm done.